I think I bought the wrong tent. What's going on? It's Samantha from Lone Crow Adventures, the channel where we talk about all things camping, hiking, and backpacking. And we've all been there. Brand new tent campers showing up to the campsite with a tent that just doesn't work. And there's not really a way to buy a bad tent per se, but rather people end up buying a tent that doesn't really suit the way that they camp. So today we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that brand new tent campers make when they buy their first tent. Let's go. Hands down, the biggest mistake tent campers make is buying a tent based on the size that's printed on the front of the box. Once you've done camping for a while, you'll learn that that is something that is very deceptive, and you have to do a little bit of tent math. A pretty easy calculation for tent math is to take the number of people sleeping in your tent and double it. That way you have one person slot for you to sleep in, and then you have another person slot for your personal gear items, like maybe your clothes and other things you want to bring with you. The other consideration that you should also make is if you're bringing any pets with you, because your dog and your dog's gear, because you probably have like a little pet bed or something, that actually counts as 2 people as well. So you want to double the amount of people and then add 2-person spaces if you have a dog. Now obviously if you have a German Shepherd, that's a big dog, 2 people. If you have a 7-pound poodle, that's obviously 1 person. So consider the size of the animal or the size of the pet that you're bringing on your trip. And also consider your kids and the entourage of crap that they are going to bring to the campsite, and all of the space that they're going to need, because they're going to take the stuff out of the bags and they're going to throw it everywhere and they're going to make a mess. So generally, always plan to buy a bigger tent than what you think you actually need if you're camping with kids. The second big mistake that people make when they buy their first tent is that they focus way too much on the price. And they end up buying a tent that has poor quality poles, poor quality zippers, and underrated waterproofing. It's always better to buy once and cry once. Now, if you're just going out camping for the weekend and you're not too sure about it, it's okay to dip your toe in that water to see if you're even going to like it. In which case, you might want to buy one of those cheap tents at Walmart. Could be a Coleman, could be an Ozark Trail, and those are perfectly fine tents for fair weather like what we have today. But if you're going to get more serious into camping, or maybe you go out 2 or 3 times that first season and decide that you really like it, you're probably going to want to upgrade your tent to the next season to something that is a little bit more luxurious and a little bit more durable. The cheap tents don't tend to hold up really well in the rain, and they also don't tend to hold up in the wind. So as long as the weather's going to be good, you'll be fine. But if weather's in the forecast, you better level up your tent system. The third biggest mistake I see brand new tent campers make is not considering the complexity of the tent setup when they buy their first tent. Some of these tents are really big, and they can be kind of complicated to set up, especially if you've never pitched a tent before. The bigger the tent, the more difficult it's going to be to set that tent up. And when the wind picks up, just like it is now, there's going to be more fabric to take wind, which is going to destabilize that tent when you're trying to get those poles crisscrossed and snapped in, and it's going to make it much more difficult. If you've never gone camping before and you've never pitched a tent, then you're going to want to go with a setup that is as basic and simple as possible. You're definitely going to want to avoid tent setups that have a partially freestanding vestibule. Although it might look really enticing to have a screened-in porch area on the front of your tent, that is just an extra area that's going to catch wind, additional guy out points, and additional guy out lines. You should really be looking for a tent that has some color coding. Maybe there's color coding on the specific poles, there's color coding on the sleeves that you pass the poles through, and maybe even color coding on the stakes that go inside the pole to hold the tension. When it's color coded, it makes it a lot easier to figure out which pole is going to go where. And also, the fewer poles in a setup, the easier the tent is to set up. So I would recommend that anyone starting out tent camping starts with a basic dome tent. A basic dome tent is the easiest tent for brand new campers to start with because the design is very easy to pitch. It usually has a square shaped footprint, and then it has two main support poles that crisscross at the very top of the tent and then kind of arc over to give the shape of the dome tent. There's one additional pole, and it's usually a shorter pole. Sometimes it's straight and it runs across those crisscross poles to be a canopy support for the rainfly, or sometimes it can be kind of curled or even have different angled pieces that click in. And again, it's to have a little canopy over the door so that if it happens to rain, you don't get rain falling onto the zipper of your door. But it's really basic. The tent body, the tent floor, those are all connected. That's one piece. And then you have your poles, and then you have your tent fly. And there's usually only a couple of guy out points on there. And once you get good with it, you should be able to get that tent completely pitched and guyed out within about 7 to 10 minutes max. And that's even if you're kind of slow. I can do it pretty quick. I can set up a 4-person dome tent in less than 5 minutes. But I've done it many, many times. So once you get used to it, you'll be okay too. The fourth mistake that I see brand new tent campers make is giving zero consideration to the need for ventilation when they're picking out their first tent. Now, if you're buying an even halfway reputable tent, that company should have field tested that tent to check for its condensation buildup, which is the biggest reason why you need ventilation. When the air cools in the evening, your breath produces condensation, and that condensation needs a way to escape that tent, or else it's going to increase the humidity level inside the tent, and it's going to make your gear wet, and it can even get so bad that it actually drips down on top of you from the inside of the tent fly. That's why looking at where the ventilation points on those tents are is so important. Typically, tents will have vents at the top of the rainfly, and a lot of times it'll be a little metal stay with a piece of Velcro that kind of keeps a little flap open, and it's designed to collapse if the rain starts to get really heavy. But a lot of tents also have loops at the bottom of the rainfly that require you to actually guide them out, so that way you can get that airflow up underneath the tent so that it goes beneath the rainfly and through the tent to remove that condensation with it. The big mistake that I see a lot of people make is that they will buy some of these budget tents that have poorly designed vents. I've seen some dome tents where there are literally only 2 little vents at the top, and it has a built-in rainfly, and there are no other ventilation points other than a window that's on the side wall of the tent, which is great. You can open up that little window at night. There's a mesh there to keep the bugs out, and that will allow some ventilation, except for when it rains, because it might have a little flap over that zipper, but it doesn't have any way to keep the rain from actually going through that no-see mesh and coming right on the inside of the tent. Cabin tents are especially notorious for this design. I own the Coleman Instant Cabin Tent, and it has 2 little vents at the very top with those metal stays that pop open, and then all of the windows on the entire tent are on the side wall, so they're not protected by a canopy or a rain fly at all. And it actually vents pretty well because it's a very tall tent, except for when it rains really, really heavily, because those metal stays, they collapse, which causes the vent to collapse, and next thing you know, you already have increased humidity because it's raining, and you're trapped inside the tent with the condensation that's being produced by the people inside. So I would definitely recommend that people look at a dome tent because it's the easiest setup, and look for one that has a fly that goes all the way from the peak all the way to the ground, that you can guy out and make sure there's a lot of airflow that can come up from underneath, in addition to using the other vents and windows that are available. That is the most optimal design for weatherproof ability and for ventilation. The fifth mistake that I see brand new tent campers make is not considering how big that tent is when it's packed up. Now, obviously, if you're backpacking, you're going to be super weight conscious, but I'm actually talking more about car camping tents. Some of these tents are humongous, and it's in a nice little package when you buy it from the store. But getting that giant tent back into its original stuff sack can be extremely challenging. Some of these tents that are instant setup tents, for instance, some of the cabin style tents, they have huge poles that telescope, and that tent remains humongous, and it's going to take up a lot of room in the back of your car, which is going to impact the amount of other gear that you can pack. Another consideration when we're talking about the size of the tent is not just how much room it takes up in your vehicle, but the footprint of the tent. I have been to many campgrounds where it's super rocky soil, so they actually provide a sand pad or a tent pad for you to pitch your tent on. And a lot of times those tent pads are maxed out at 12 by 12, which sounds like enough space. But then when you consider you might have a 10 by 10 foot tent, which is a huge tent, you also have to have enough space for those guy lines to come out to the side. And those are going to go on the outside of that tent pad, and you may not have somewhere where you could get it through the ground. Maybe it's gravel, or maybe it's rock, or maybe there's some other conditions. So if you're going to be traveling, or you know the state parks where you're going to be going, check the size of that tent pad before you purchase one, because you don't want to get there and realize, oh my gosh, my tent is so big that I can't even properly stake it out because the tent pad doesn't accommodate it. So consider two things with size: the tent pad and how much room that sucker's going to take up in the back of your car. Now that you know the mistakes to avoid when buying your first tent, you're better equipped to make a purchase decision. But if you're still sitting on the fence and you're not sure whether you should go with a dome tent, a cabin tent, or maybe even an instant pop-up tent, then I want you to click on this video right over here, and I'm going to go through the major distinctions between these different styles of tents and point out the good things and the bad things of each one. This way you can make the best decision to enhance your camping experience.